Here's the voice of the West Monroe Rebels, Rick Gio.
Welcome in, everybody, to Inside Rebel Football, our weekly football talk show live at Freddy's here in West Monroe on Cypress Street. We get a chance to talk with coaches and players, and we'll talk about last week. We'll talk about this coming Friday. But we're always live here at Freddy's on Wednesday night at 6 o'clock right here on LA 105.3. You can also catch the stream of the show. It'll be published on YouTube. You can find that on the West Monroe Football Facebook page. That'll be launched in the morning. Coach Ashley does a fantastic job of filming this and making the edits, and he does a lot of good things, Coach, for this program as far as our Facebook page. And
well, he's Teacher of the Year, you know. When you're Teacher of the Year, I mean, it's just comes along all the time and natural.
I'm laughing because he's shaking his head. For those our listeners don't know what's going on, he's shaking his head. Doesn't like the compliments, but also want to thank Tim Gallion is here with us at Freddy's. Always does a good job, and, of course, on our broadcast on Friday nights. Dawson Bowes back at the studio. Jonna Van, who's a big part of our broadcast as well. We appreciate her support and all the work she's put into this. And it's a privilege to do this show and to talk with you, Coach, and our players, and privilege to call the games as well. And speaking of games, let's talk about last Friday night. Rebels fall 67-47. For the guys that took the over, they liked that game. But, Coach, it was a marathon.
It was.
Marathon game, over 3.5 hours. Pulaski was as advertised with all the, if you want to call them gimmicks,
yep.
The different formations and shifts and the onside kicks and all the above. They were as advertised. Before we talk specifics, Coach, you've had a chance. You know, we talked to you after the game, but now you've had a chance to go back and watch it and really understand what went on last Friday night. But your thoughts?
Well, you know, man, they just keep coming at you. It keeps coming in waves. When, you know, I kind of said it tongue-in-cheek last week when I said they want the ball back. That's all they want to do. They don't care if you score. But they just want the ball, and they're going to onside kick it. And then if you get 2 or 3 of those onside kicks, which we did in the first half, they're going to change their scheme up. They got about 14 of them from what they say. So, you know, I think the thing that hurt us obviously was the 3 in a row. But also we had penalties on a drive, and we're still down 5.
Yeah. That
I felt like if we don't have those penalties, we might turn the ball over, and then we have a chance to go score again and go ahead. And that's the thing you got to do. You got to stay ahead of them, and then you got to get ahead of them by 2 scores.
Yeah.
If you can do that, and that's such a tough thing to do when they spin it like they do, throw it around, and they've got the receivers out there that can do the things they do.
Yeah, they certainly were very talented in spots, and had a quarterback you could tell has just done it time after time after time, and that certainly accounts for something. We had some missed opportunities in the first half. We get a turnover or 2, and can't capitalize on that. You talked about building a lead against these guys because, look, they get tired too.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? But talk about your guys. A lot of folks have asked me, well, what happened Friday night? What do you think? What do you think? I said, it's crazy. We gave up 67 points, but I felt like our defense played pretty well.
They did.
Your thoughts on the defense? The score's misleading, but your thoughts on those guys?
It's hard to say that. We improved from one week to the next in the spread offense, covering some lanes, doing some things, correctly. And it's like you said, we get 2 picks. Well, you have to turn those things into touchdowns.
Yeah.
You know, this was not the week that I would say, hey, Hunter Fox, go kick 4 field goals. Wasn't going to help.
Right.
You know, you're going to have to score touchdowns. And so that was, my thought process going in. I don't care if we get in field goal range. We're kicking. We're going for it. You know, we're gonna have to go 4 downs, get a first down, score, just to stay with it with what they do, because it's like anything else. When I don't know how many times they threw as opposed to ran. I can say it's probably 80%, 20%, which has been kind of their average. But when they just keep throwing balls out there to a 6'7" guy and a 6'4" guy, even they're gonna catch some of those. You just can't defend all of it. But I thought our kids played a whole lot better. I know that sounds crazy, but played a whole lot better defensively, trying to understand where the seams were, where the holes were, and what to do. And offensively, I mean, other than, like I said, the 2 times that we got a turnover, we went 3 and out, and you can't do that. But I felt like, we played really well.
Yeah. From a decision-making standpoint, you get in these games, you knew this team would go for 2 every time.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a plan going in, like this is when we're gonna have to go for 2 and chase points?
Yeah.
Did you know, okay, at this certain point, we can't sit here and just kick extra points and stay? We're going to have to match that. What was the thought process going in for that?
I think you don't ever chase, or at least I don't feel like you do until you get down at the end and you feel like, and I've got Taylor in the box, and Taylor's got the chart, and he's saying, okay, this is what we need to do here. It will be up by so-and-so, kick it. We'll be up by so-and-so, go for 2. And I think that's the thing you have to do the most.
You had a big night from your senior running back, Boobie Miles.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about his progression. Last year, Boobie got spot carries here and there. Wasn't really necessarily called a feature running back. He had a big night, 4 touchdowns for the Rebels. Can you talk about his progression and him as now a feature back for you?
Well, I think the thing about Boobie that made it so nice is he ran tough. Yards after contact. It wasn't about getting tackled with that first guy. It was he would get yards after that, and so that's what we want from him, and that's what we need him to do. And obviously with that offense that we're running right now inside the tackles, he's the bigger back as opposed to Kedron, probably on the perimeter.
Yeah.
And he hits it in there, and he makes really good cuts. So I was very proud of the night he had and the performance he had.
When you're on the field that much, especially the defensive side of the ball, you have a long game like that, the risk of injury elevates in a game like that. How are we on the injury front? I know Litton sustained an injury there. We don't have to disclose everything about that, but overall health-wise for West Monroe, how are we?
I think we came out, pretty healthy, other than Lit, it takes so much out of you, and I felt like our coaches did an awesome job of moving guys in and out, especially those D tackles and D ends. They're the rushers. They're the guys in the trenches playing hard. They were moving them in and out of there, trying to give them as much break as they could get. And I thought they did a great job there. But, like we said before, when you get 4 possessions in a row and you got to go right back out there. Yeah. And we were being hard-headed and battling them and not letting them score on the first time they take it. So, you're playing a whole lot of football plays. And I thought we were in shape. I thought our kids just continued to play hard and get after it.
You can certainly see we were in pretty good condition. I mean, even to be in the ball game after the 3 onside kicks, still down by 5, have a tough, heartbreaking call. It was the right call, the horse collar on the sidelines, and a little extra shove by JQ just kind of broke our back defensively. The late in the game, and that I know I could sense your frustration after the ball game of the last 3.5 minutes were really uncharacteristic of your ball team.
It was.
Talk about that and what led into that and your message to the team afterwards.
It's like we talk about all the time. It was frustrating. We can't act like that. They're looking for those type things. We've looked back on film, and it could have gone either way.
Yeah.
Both of them, but you're not going to get that, and I've told our kids, I've told our coaches, you can whine and cry all you want to, but at the end of it, you're going to accept what that guy says, and there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. So we've got to, like we always talk about, don't react, respond. And I said, okay, here we go. We've preached this all summer and all year, and now we're living it. So unless you decide to change that, sometimes the results aren't going to be any different.
As we're wrapping up our opening segment, the growth of your team so far. You've got 2. You've had a scrimmage, a Bayou Jam, and now 2 regular season games. What are some things you're starting to see out of your team with regards to growth? Where are you seeing some positive improvements on your team as you head into week 3?
I think we're understanding and figuring out what we want to do offensively. I think our kids are starting to understand that and get confident in what they're doing offensively. Play action, run the football. Play action, run the football. Throw the ball on the perimeter quickly and make it just the little tunnel screen things and give it in our playmakers' hands. So I think we've done that. Defensively, I think we've learned we can play a 4-man front, we can play a 3-man front, we can put 8 in coverage, we can put we can man up, we can do what we need to do and what makes us best. And we're still moving those pieces around a little bit. We still got 3 weeks of non-district, and so I think we're going to have that all settled in by the time district gets here, and that's what we're looking for.
Coach, next segment I'll have Taylor Birch on. Talk to us about, real quick, introduce him. Tell us about how he came onto your staff.
Taylor Birch just had an opportunity, went through some stuff over at Neville, and it was good to see that maybe he might be available. And so I just talked to him and told him, I know he's a diehard Neville guy. He's the president over there, whatever you want to call him. He's just a great guy, and I know why, because it's been a great, and coaches, a lot of times you don't want to have to tell them to do something.
Yeah.
If you have to tell them to do something, then you're probably wasting your time. But I don't have to tell Taylor how to do anything. He's going to take the initiative. He's going to get things in order. He's going to do things the right way, and we're sure glad to have him.
Awesome. Coach, always a pleasure talking to you. We'll catch up with you at the end of the show.
All right, thanks.
All right, folks, stay with us. When we come back, we'll talk with quarterback coach and strength and conditioning coach Taylor Birch here on Inside Rebel Football. We'll be right back.
At Century Next Bank, employees are busy working for you. Employees like Lee Denny, whose relationships make an impact in the communities we call home.
So to see positive impact that these relationships can have when you work with other people, when other people appreciate it. And again, it goes back to spending time and trying to help somebody, and it's a very rewarding thing for me as well.
For more on Lee's story, visit bankwithlocals.com. Century Next Bank. What's next for you?
You're listening to Inside Rebel Football with the coaches and players of the West Monroe Rebels. Now, back to Rick Gio.
Welcome back, everybody, and thanks for hanging with us here on Inside Rebel Football, live at Freddy's on Cypress Street in West Monroe. If you're out and about, stop in and say hi. We'd be glad to see you. I want to give a shout-out to David, who's the manager here at Freddy's. Fantastic hospitality, taking care of our coaches and players and setting up our tables and making sure Tim's taken care of. So thank you, David, and for your hospitality here at our host, Freddy's Steak Burgers, Frozen Custard, right here on Cypress Street in West Monroe. Now I get the pleasure of talking to our new quarterback coach and strength and conditioning coach, Taylor Birch. Coach, welcome to the show.
Rick, thanks.
We're glad to have you. Yeah. For our listeners that may not know much about you, you're a new voice, new face, new name to our program. Why don't you give us tell us about your journey here to West Monroe, where you came from and how you got here.
Sure. Well, graduated from Neville High School. I know that's I know I'll get rare for that.
Yeah, that's rare around here. That's right.
And went to Louisiana Tech, played a couple years of football and baseball at Louisiana Tech, and graduated from there in 2014. I started immediately. It's funny, we played our bowl game on the 26th of December, day after Christmas, in the Heart of Dallas Bowl. And then 6 days later, I was in a classroom in front of students at Alexandria Senior High.
Wow.
Starting the second semester as a teacher. And so that had been hooked up through an old coach of mine that had called and offered me a job and said, hey, when you're done, are you interested in coaching? And when he asked me, didn't really take it seriously. And then bing, bang, boom, I'm in Alexandria teaching and coaching. And so I was in Alexandria for 2 years at Ash. And then the phone call came to come home, and got the opportunity to come home at Neville. Was the OC, the offensive coordinator there for 6 years. And then I got the call, and an opportunity was provided to come over here, and through a lot of thought and conversation, and an opportunity for my family that in the end provided and has been so far a phenomenal opportunity for me. And here I am in the WM. So,
well, there's been a lot of good reviews, Coach. I know a lot of the players enjoy being around you and playing for you, and we won't hold it against you, man. The black and gold. I've got a lot of friends over there, and I actually have a lot of family that graduated from Neville.
Absolutely.
So they're all friends.
You got a lot of Neville people right here in this long table over here.
They look good in navy and red, I'll say that.
Some of them are in off blue. They're not quite fully accepted of the Navy yet, but they're getting there.
Well, of course, you won a state championship at Neville back in 2011, 2009.
Yep.
Well, that's a big deal. And so, Coach, you've got multiple responsibilities with our program. quarterbacks, and then, of course, helping Coach Deiser in the weight room. Talk to us about first how you manage those two responsibilities and what you think of it so far.
Sure. Well, I'll lead into with I've been in the math classroom for the last 10 years, my first 10 years, and went back 2 years ago now and got my master's in kinesiology and
Awesome.
sport performance so that I could make a transition like this. And this, again, this opportunity came about, and the second position in the weight room was open, and that was one that was offered to me, and kind of fell right into place right at the right time as soon as I finished. And so it was nice to have that in my pocket to be able to accept this job, and it's been phenomenal so far.
Coach Deiser, that's a lot to handle, man. Over there in that weight room with him.
Yeah,
he's
awesome. He's a phenomenal mentor already.
Yeah.
I've learned so much from him already, and you said a couple different hats I wear in that building is not only assistant strength coach, but over in the equipment room and locker room and managing a few things and organizing a few things over there, and which plays right into my OCD, and those are things that that guy over there in the white hair and navy shirt taught me that a man's proud of the things he does a long time ago, and
Cool.
the things that you put your name on, you want to look good and sound good and be thought of good, and so that's something I've stuck with me, and I've had a few along the way, coaches and mentors and things that have taught me, to be proud of the things you put your name on, and that goes from folding a towel the right way all the way to how you coach your position players, and so that's just something I like to take pride in and do every day.
Well, this season we'll get a chance to talk to our quarterbacks in just a minute, but we've had here at West Monroe a 3-year starter in Hayden Federico, and now you've got some fresh blood out there. Ryder is now taken over, and talk to us about your quarterbacks this year and how that's going for you and the progression you've seen.
Well, coming in, we had Ryder, Brady, and Luke Valerie. All three were taking reps in the spring, and Luke kind of transitioned into a guy, a Swiss Army knife type guy, and is now taking more reps at receiver for this fall. But he's a guy, that if things were to happen, unfortunately on a Friday night, he would be a guy that we would gladly stick in there and be confident in as the third quarterback. But now, Ryder and Brady have stepped up and taken the rest of the ones and twos roles, reps, and they're doing a great job. What makes my job easy, and I tell everybody from a quarterback competition standpoint, they're baseball teammates, and they've just won a state championship together in baseball, and they've been through the thick of it, and they make our room so easy because they get along, and they compete their tails off, and they understand it's against each other, but it's for each other at the same time. They're iron sharpening iron every day in our position room, and we bounce ideas. We bounce every single day. I ask each of them. I'm like, Brady, Coach Ryder up right here. What would you say if you were his coach? What would you say? And what would you say of your own coach right here? I give them the opportunity because of, we want our vernacular, we want our verbiage every day to be the same, to where they hear the same things over and over, to where when it's in a ball game, when it's time to take that snap, they know exactly what they're thinking. Their thought process is, as simplified as possible, to where their distraction, their thinking is minimal, to where they can just execute and perform.
You get to polish up your play calling a little bit on JV nights.
Sure,
I get to see you do that, and I know you're having fun with that. But talk about your responsibilities on Fridays. You're up in the booth on Friday nights, but your responsibilities for game nights.
It's unique coming from a coordinator position and getting to sort of take a step back and be the eyes in the sky when I've become accustomed to calling plays on the sideline, and go from not only calling but signaling for myself, and then all of a sudden now I'm in the press box and being an eyes in the sky. And there's sometimes when you see things, and I'm so used to being able to just signal it or call it myself because I'm right there and I'm the one calling it, to all of a sudden now I have to figure out not only when to relay it, but through my experience as someone listening to ideas, find the right time to put those ideas in, find the right time through, how our process works on the headset on Decorum on Friday night of, when to throw those things in and how I can best serve and serve our offense and serve our quarterbacks ultimately.
Yeah. Veer option somewhat new to you? Is that
You say somewhat. I told them when I first met these quarterbacks that it's never been an offense that I've been in, playing or I say that. We were a little bit of split back veer my freshman year of high school.
Okay.
And after that, Mickey put in the power spread.
Gotcha.
And from then on, not in high school, not in college, not at either of the places I coached, did we run the veer.
So you're back learning it with the quarterbacks. And sometimes that helps to communicate.
Well, that's what was so good about the spring of going ahead and getting over here and spending the whole spring. You know, me, Sid, and KD were meeting every single day, every afternoon, and, you know, going over things and just bouncing ideas and you know, getting the verbiage in my head over and over, which, you know, as a former coordinator, understanding you got to understand it if you want to not only call it on Monday nights, but be able to help on Friday nights too. If you don't know how to verbalize your thoughts, your opinions, your ideas into the verbiage where the OC understands what you're saying, then you know, are you really helping? And so it's just, you know, I'm very grateful for that time this spring to be able to come do that and their openness to let me come do that and get rolling. And I feel like we're very similar philosophically as offensive minds, the three of us. And not only, you know, but everybody in the room is. I think our offensive room is a really good one. And I think we bounce ideas on Sundays and do a good job of, you know, we all understand in that room. The big thing is we understand if we're not on the same page for the kids, nobody's on the same page. If quarterback hears something different from me and the coordinator, the kid can't be right. And so I think our room does a really good job of not only understanding that, but hey, regardless of how we may feel on certain ideas and, you know, whether we like some things better, when we get to Monday, we're all on the same page for the kids, or else we can't be a good football team.
That makes sense. Well, Coach, it was a pleasure visiting with you. Welcome to West Monroe High School. We're so glad to have you and your family. And I know that they come with you, and it's a package deal, and that's how it's supposed to be. And so, again, it was a pleasure visiting with you. Folks, that was our quarterback coach and strength and conditioning coach, Taylor Birch. We'll come back. We'll visit with our two quarterbacks, Ryder Dejan and Brady Guillot. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
For years, you've trusted us with your car buying experience. You've trusted us to provide service after the sale. You've even trusted us to help keep your vehicle clean. Now it's time for us to have some fun.
Polaris of Ruston, where the road ends, adventure begins.
Welcome back, everybody, to Inside Rebel Football here on LA 105.3. Again, you can catch us on Facebook. It'll be up live or up recorded tomorrow morning. Usually Coach Ashley, that's when he will publish that on the West Monroe Football Facebook page tomorrow morning. I want to thank our sponsors, Home Improvement Outlet, Freddy's, Century Next Bank, Dr. Jeff Counts, Dr. Kyle Nix, Polaris of Ruston, Dupuy Flooring, Jim Taylor Ford, and Rocket Fast Car Wash and Evans Oil. I thank those folks. As you hear these commercials throughout our broadcast, these are the proud sponsors of Inside Rebel Football. Now joined by our two quarterbacks, Brady Guillot, Ryder Dejan. Guys, welcome to the show. Ryder, we'll start with you. Become a familiar name on our broadcast on Friday nights. You now taking over the reins for Hayden Federico. Fed was a 3-year starter at quarterback, and now it is your turn. Talk about what that role means to you and how it's been so far for you.
Well, it's been really cool to see how Hayden did everything and then finally take over and understand like the rules and all that stuff that you got to learn and stuff. It's definitely a lot harder on your mind, but when you got guys like Brady in the room with you, it's pretty easy.
Yeah. Some of the things maybe you've picked up from Fed over the years being alongside him. Talk about maybe some things that you've learned that, man, Fed was really good at this that I've got to pick up on. Maybe tell us about something that you picked up from Fed.
Sir. The leadership role. Yeah. He was – I didn't understand how he did it, and then he kind of walked me through it and talked to him after that last game last year and kind of got a grasp of what it was and just working into that this year.
Brady, playing quarterback still somewhat new to you to a certain extent. Talk about the journey for you, how you became a quarterback and how you got to where you are now.
Yeah, so I actually started as a linebacker, going into middle school, and then our quarterback ended up transferring in the 7th grade, and Coach Laborde at Good Hope was like, you willing to try the position? I was, you bet. So ever since then, just looking up to guys at West Monroe, quarterbacks above me like Ryder, and it's just really taught me a lot about playing the position and, like what the values are at quarterback and just how to be a leader on and off the field.
That's right. And guys, both of you baseball teammates had a chance. And first, let me tell you, congratulations on a state championship in baseball. And Ryder, some things that you have to do in baseball. How do those things transfer over to football from the mental game, the physical part of things? Talk to me about how being a member of that baseball team and a contributor on that baseball team to how it carries over to football.
Yes, sir. Our big word last year for baseball was finish, and I just think throughout the games we just have to focus on finishing and just next snap. Just don't worry about the last play. Go to the next one, feed off the good, and just let the bad go by.
Brady, quarterback position is not an easy position. You guys have to know just about every position on offense. Talk to me about maybe what's the most challenging part of playing the position as you think about all the things that go into playing quarterback. What's the most challenging part of this position? And if you had to tell maybe a younger quarterback that's trying just now learning the position, what's something to focus on? But talk about the challenges and some things you do to overcome it.
I would just say the mental part is probably, it can be the toughest part is because, you've got to know every play for every snap, for every game, for every practice. Like, you can't just be a game player. You also got to be a practice player. And, if one of your teammates is having a bad practice, you got to pick them up. If, your coaches are struggling, you still got to be there for them. And so if I just had to tell them, like a younger quarterback, one thing, it would just be, just to stay sharp all the time. You never know who's watching. You never know who's looking up to you. So I would just say stay sharp all the time because you never know who's watching.
Yeah, that's good. Ryder, we've had a couple of weeks on our belt heading to North Desoto. Your thoughts on how this offense has progressed so far as you guys get ready to travel Friday night?
I think we've been getting a lot better at practice and kind of understand certain people and where they need to go. And I feel like we still have a lot of room to grow. And I just feel like I feel pretty confident going in.
Brady, the evolvement of this offense, you go from lining up in the eye, and we run the veer one series, and we get in the gun the next series with 4 wide. We'll talk about the challenge that can be on a quarterback of having to learn multiple formations and motions and stuff. You guys started meeting back in the summer at 6 a.m. Talk about just the classroom work you guys have had to go through to understand this offense.
Yeah, it's a lot of it, out of the classroom. It's when you're at home and coaches aren't there with you or your other players aren't there with you. It's still staying sharp on your reads and all your key things that you got to look for in a defense when you're trying to run a play. And, just staying sharp on those reads on defense.
Yeah. Well, guys, a pleasure having you on the show. Again, I know the challenges of playing quarterback, and I want to tell you both, keep up the good work. You guys are representing the position well. There are a lot of things that people don't understand that go into playing quarterback. And you guys are giving it everything and have had nothing but positive reviews from the guys that are close from this program, the effort that you guys have put in this season. And I love watching the journey. And so wish you guys both the best of luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, folks, that was Ryder Dejan and Brady Gio here on Inside Rebel Football. We come back, we'll turn the page to defense. We'll have Coach Truxillo with us here on the show when we come back. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Coach, look what I got. The Rocket Fast Playbook. That's awesome, Sport. What does it say? First, you get him in the tunnel. Second, you blindside him with the wall of foam. Third, you call an audible. Then comes the Hail Mary. You hit him with the fast pass. Coach, it's brilliant. No dirty opponent stands a chance against Rocket Fast.
Hey, that's my playbook. Where'd you get that? Oh, it doesn't matter. Just sing the song.
Fast car wash. Rocket Fast. It's a blast. And your vehicle is clean.
Welcome back, folks, to Inside Rebel Football. We appreciate you listening and tuning in tonight. Now joined by Coach Truxillo on wears multiple hats on this coaching staff, not only coaching secondary, but a lot of special teams involvement as well. And so, Coach, before we dive right into those things, second year on the staff here at West Monroe, and not a unfamiliar name to our community. Of course, married to Tabby, and you guys are involved in so much. But talk to us about, again, remind our listeners of your journey here, how you got to West Monroe.
Well, originally from New Orleans, and was recruited to ULM to play football there, and met Tabby while I was in college, and kind of the rest is history.
Gotcha.
So we got married, and I got certified to teach, and spent a couple years on staff at ULM and a couple years coaching at the collegiate level at Eastern Illinois University, and wanted to come back to Louisiana. I know how important high school athletics are in Louisiana, especially in Northeast Louisiana. So got certified to teach and spent 7 years at Ouachita High School over there with Jeff Fitzgerald and Todd Garvin. And, like you said, starting my second year here over at West Monroe, and couldn't be in a better place, and very fortunate and happy to be over here.
Well, Coach, we're certainly happy to have you, and appreciate all that you do. And we talked about your role on special teams on this team, on this coaching staff. Yeah. That was a highlight of last Friday, but we knew that going in. We knew these guys were. I'm talking about pros at special teams, especially that kickoff. Talk about going in, and then what you guys, as the game evolved, how they lived up to the billing, that these guys knew what they were doing. Talk about that experience last week. It was pretty unique.
Yeah, we knew it was unique, going in, just the style of play that they execute, not, very rarely punting the football, going for two instead of kicking the extra point, not kicking field goals, and obviously, trying the onside kick every time they kick off. But like you said, they executed that very well. We had done our best throughout the week to prepare for that. It's really kind of hard to simulate and practice sometimes. Getting the right kick every time. It seemed like those 3 onside kicks that they did get were perfect kicks. And it's a thing in practice where maybe 1 out of 5 might be good, and you're limited with time. In terms of how much you can practice that. But they were able to get 3 on us, and like you said, they executed it. They had a guy that was about 6'3", got that perfect hop up there, and he was able to go high point it before we could get to the ball. But still with them getting 3 onside kicks and 3 extra possessions, we still had a chance there in the end. So that's just the way the game was. A lot of points.
You've played football and been around the game. You played at a very high level. You've coached at a high level. Have you ever seen anything like that experience last Friday?
No, I have not seen it. No, I've heard about it. West Monroe apparently played Barb years ago where they were able to get several onside kicks like that. But just the amount of points, just back and forth the whole game. You think you give up 70 points that you got blown out. But really up to the very end, we were in that game, and we were confident that if we get the ball back, we're going to march down the field and score and win the game. But we just could not get that one stop and get the ball back to our offense.
Well, you talk about their execution, Coach. Pre-game warm-ups, we get there with the radio crew and Tim setting up like he always does, and so we get a chance to kind of walk around and watch warm-ups. Well, I sat there and watched their kicker kick that kick probably 50 times, man, just boom, boom, boom. You talk about it's hard to simulate. He never missed.
Right.
Like how those kicks bounced perfectly. Every kick in warm-up was just like that, and I looked at my brother and I was like, man, this is impressive. This is all this guy does, all practice, and in warm-ups just bam, bam. So we talk special teams. Let's talk about the secondary. Of course, it's a huge challenge against Pulaski and the different formations and motions and shifts and all that kind of stuff. But, Coach, it seemed like you guys started figuring some things out, made some adjustments as the game went. You made life hard for those guys.
No doubt.
67 points sounds like a lot, but I told Coach Davis, we gave up that many points, but I felt like defensively we played pretty well. Talk about the effort of your secondary.
The effort just by the whole team I thought was tremendous. The fight that we had the whole game and just we never gave up. The points, it was back and forth, like I said, but there were times where we did get stops. There were times where we did get takeaways. We did get off the field on fourth down at times, but it seemed like the timely fashion of it. When we needed that stop late in the fourth quarter, we just couldn't get the job done. But plenty to build off of. I think I'm proud of the way we played, and I think games like that are going to help us down the road. For our tough district and in the playoffs. But Pulaski, they're a good team.
Yeah, and they certainly have the pedigree and the banners hanging on the wall to show it.
No doubt.
And the pace of play, it was almost like they go so fast, and then about midway through the fourth quarter, like the dam just broke. You just couldn't hold on anymore. Yeah. It's gonna this next week is gonna feel like a cakewalk as far as the pace is concerned. I know North Desoto throws it around.
Yeah.
But the pace of play may be they may play fast and it's still going to feel slow. Talk to us about North Desoto and what you guys expect to see Friday.
Like you said, they're very similar in that they are a pass-heavy offense. Their quarterback, 4-year starter, and his numbers are just unbelievable. And he's got an offer from ULM and Northwestern State, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He's got plenty of weapons to throw to. Number 21 in the slot, he's a special player. Coach Ashley says, he reminds us of Trent Taylor, who played for La Tech. And he's now in the NFL. He's just a special player. You put the ball in his area, seems like he always comes down with it. Number 0, he's a big, tall, lanky receiver.
Okay.
Big target, can run well. Running back's good. Number 5. Tight ends or H-backs, number 14 and number 4, they're big targets. They can block. They're physical when they run the game, run the ball. So, we're going to have our hands full, and we're up to the challenge. But like you said, I think playing in a game like against Pulaski, we look up at halftime. I think we were on defense for 50-something plays, and at the end of the game, I think it was about 115.
That is
Pulaski,
incredible.
and the number of plays they had run. So it's like we played 2 games in one, and just how fast it was going. The tempo that they were going. I'm hoping, that we'll be able to match the tempo with North Desoto, but we're definitely going to have our hands full against them.
Well, you had a lot of guys get some experience as you guys rolled bodies in all night long. I thought that was done very well. To get fresh legs and bodies into the ball game. Coach, it's always a pleasure visiting with you. Got a big flag football matchup this Saturday. We wish you the best with that.
Thank you.
But again, honestly, it's always a pleasure talking to you. And I know you wear many hats on this program, and it doesn't go unnoticed, and it's much appreciated.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, folks, that was Coach Truxillo here with us on Inside Rebel Football. We come back, we'll visit with 2 of his players, Orlando Weber and Avery Lewis, here on Inside Rebel Football. We'll be right back.
The Home Improvement Outlet has a must-see iron door collection. Whether you're a homeowner or a builder, we have the perfect iron door for you. And check out our cutting-edge smart glass option, offering privacy and style at the touch of a button. With many glass options available, you can customize your door to match your unique style. We have iron doors that pivot, slide, and so much more. The Home Improvement Outlet in West Monroe.
Now cue that jingle.
The Home Improvement Outlet, you're building for less.
Now, back to Rick Gio.
Welcome back to Inside Rebel Football, the coaches show, and it's been a fun show so far, visiting with coaches and players and talking about last Friday, such a unique game. And again, we want to give a shout out to David, the manager here at Freddy's, for taking care of us each and every Wednesday night. And our coaches show is open to everybody. Come on in next Wednesday, and have a burger and a shake with us, and we'll talk some football. We'll continue to talk West Monroe defense now with Orlando Weber and Avery Lewis, 2 of our defensive backs. I have to follow Coach Truxillo, who was always a fun interview. But, guys, a relatively unique ball game last Friday night against the Pulaski Bruins. Avery, I'll ask you first. A lot of plays during that game. Coach Truxillo said 115 plays. Talk to me about what was going through your head. You guys were exhausted. They're throwing the ball everywhere, all these motions and everything. What was that experience like as a player in that environment last Friday night?
We would just kept
playing, kept plugging.
Kept playing, kept getting it together. You know what I'm saying? We was kept going. We was keep fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anything surprise you? I know you guys saw him on film with all these tricks and gimmicks and that sort of thing. Did anything surprise you, or was it about what you expected?
One play, they got me in one play. Yeah.
What happened on that one play?
Oh.
Did you bite on a fake or a route, or what happened on the one play that you're talking about?
I bite on the fake.
Orlando thinks that's hilarious. The folks that are listening, maybe watching, Orlando's laughing at his buddy over here. But look, a few of us got burnt and bit on the fake last Friday night, Avery. And so, Orlando, you're all smiles tonight, man. I love seeing it. But you've been a familiar name on our broadcast in the first 2 weeks. Several tackles, plays. You had a big night at the Bayou Jam. You had an interception that night, right? You're back to West Monroe's program. Talk to us about your journey. You took a year off last year, and now you're back. What brought you back?
From West Monroe, been here since a kid. Moved out to Desoto, Texas, and Dallas.
Okay.
I liked it. It was a good experience, but like this is where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Dad played here, like the community, you know. I
So
always wanted to be here.
You decided to come on back and for your senior year.
Thankful the coaches let me back on after I quit on or left.
Well, talk to me about last Friday night. You guys have played some heavy passing teams, maybe not Huntington, but you scrimmage Calvary, Bayou Jam against Evangel, and then Pulaski. Now you got North DeSoto, who likes to throw the ball too. You guys have thrown right into the fire. But tell me about your experience last Friday against Pulaski and how different that was.
It was a good experience, good atmosphere. Never played a team who do a lot of trick plays, and you know. But I feel like we did good, even though the scoreboard don't really show it. But we really played good.
Yeah, I thought so too. And you mentioned the environment at Pulaski, and that felt like that stadium was just right on top of you. Right, it was like 6 feet of sideline almost. Avery, did that affect you at all? That the crowd being right on top of you guys, they could hear everything you're saying. Talk to me about the impact or how that felt different Friday.
They sideline so small and all that. And I don't really like that.
You didn't want the parents hearing what you were having to say when you came off the field, right? That's what you had to. That's what you had to watch.
Yeah.
Well, Orlando, talk to me about this defense. You guys heading into North DeSoto, how much you guys have improved, and what do you look to see out of Friday night's matchup?
Week by week, we've been improving. From day one to now, we improved a lot, made a few adjustments, got a eligible player.
Good.
Coming back. Yeah, we're gonna be way better.
Good.
And I don't expect them to score too much.
Good. Well, all right. I'll ask you about that next week. We'll see how that goes for you. But guys, keep up the good work. Keep working hard. It's a pleasure talking to you tonight. I love the joy that you guys bring to this, and man, don't ever stop doing that. Don't ever stop smiling and laughing and having a good time at whatever you're doing, guys.
Yeah.
Folks, that's Orlando Weber and Avery Lewis here on Inside Rebel Football. We come back. We'll wrap up the show with head coach Kevin Davis. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Do you want to feel better and perform better and get back to doing the things you enjoy? Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Kyle Nix at Twin City Chiropractic. If pain or injury have got you down, we provide long-term solutions to get you back to 100%. Our services include chiropractic care, spinal rehab and traction, deep tissue laser, and Normatec compression. If you're an athlete, weekend warrior, work on a computer all day, or even involved in an auto accident, we can help your body perform at its best. Feel better, perform better at Twin City Chiropractic. We're located at 1117 Forsyth Avenue in Monroe. Call us at 318-582-5029.
Now, back to Rick Gio.
Welcome back, folks, to Inside Rebel Football. We're live here at Freddy's in West Monroe. Our final segment, we get to wrap things up with head coach Kevin Davis, and we'll talk about, our matchup Friday night against North DeSoto. Of course, North DeSoto was beaten the they were the number one seed in 4A non-select last season, and got lost in the semifinals to the eventual state champion Opelousas. So a good program and a good coach that's been around for a while.
Yep.
Talk to us about North DeSoto and what we should expect out of those guys.
Well, they're complete. You don't play for a state championship and play for it in the state semis and not be a really good football team. And I think the thing that we always used to talk about when we'd make those long runs is it's invaluable for your young guys because they're getting 4 and 5 weeks of practice time that nobody else is getting, or not many people are getting, and you can't put a price tag on that experience and just getting that practice time. So Dennis does a tremendous job. He came to Carthage when I was there and sat down and we visited and talked football. He was at Louisiana College, I think then, and so I know him. I don't know him well, but he's always reached out and been really good and been very supportive through all this situation stuff that came up. And so it'll be an exciting time to go down. They're going to it'll be a great atmosphere. It's going to be a bigger place. Obviously,
doesn't take much for that, Coach.
Not sure how much bigger, but it's a beautiful facility. They planned that thing out right. North Desoto did have all their campuses there. Have all their facilities there. So it's stone wall right there, and just kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
Relatively new program on the rise. Really,
right.
Coach Dunn's done a fantastic job. How did this game get on the schedule?
This was one that we just I knew they had an opening, and so we called and just talked, and he was in favor. He didn't give me the coach, let me think about it or anything like that. He came in and said, Coach, we'd love to do that. So it's a home and home. So they'll come to our place next year, and we're very fortunate to have that take place.
Coach, talk about their playing style. Coach Truxillo talked about their quarterback, very experienced 4-year starter quarterback with some Division I offers, and so you can't get away from these good quarterbacks.
We can't.
But talk to me about what to expect from North DeSoto, their style of play.
They're gonna probably snap it faster than Pulaski did.
Wow.
They're going to try to anyway. Now, they're not as wide open unless they just saw Pulaski do something that they went, hey, we like that, and they're going to do it. They're a little more close to the vest. They're going to play 3 wide with an H-back usually in most of their formations, run the counter a lot. But they have 3 or 4 plays they're going to run at you, and they're going to see how fast they can do it. And just flip it out and play ball possession as far as that goes, throwing it down the field. And with an experienced quarterback, and it's always good to have that.
Sure.
And we're going to have to control the football. That's what we talked about last week. And, we score in 2 plays. We always said, look, we're not going to not score.
Right.
So, and we'll continue to do that. But I feel like it's going to be more of a traditional type game than it has been or than it was last week, because there was nothing traditional about last week's game at all. And it's like you said, I look up. There's several times I look up, we're ahead. It's not like I'm nervous about having to score anything, and it doesn't feel like there's any time off the clock.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's right.
Every quarter seemed to last an hour and a half, and I don't see that taking place in this one as much. But we just gotta take control of the football.
So you talked about a key to success for West Monroe. That's controlling the football. Excuse me, controlling the clock. And limiting their time on the field on offense.
Yes.
Talk about schematically, you guys. What do you want to see? What do you have to do to be successful in doing those things? Do we need to improve up front, offensive line? You've got a stable of backs you've continued to roll through. And then defensively, you had a lot of guys get snaps last Friday night. What's something specifically that, hey, the Rebels got to improve on this for us to be successful? You've had a chance to talk this week with you guys, and what's been a focus of you guys to, hey, week 2 to week 3, this is somewhere we really need to get better?
Well, we've still continued to look at, okay, what are we gun drop back? We gun sprint out, or we under center play action, and I think we're starting to ease more and more towards that under center play action stuff, and then just flip it out on the edges. We've got to get better and continue to be more consistent. I thought Ryder did a great job of week 1 to week 2. And we're not where we want to be, but he got better, and you can see it in his delivery, you can see it in his eyes and what he was focusing on. And so we've got to continually get better in that. The shots down the field, we've hit maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah.
We want to increase that. We got to keep people off of us and take more shots down the field. and just to keep people loose in that respect. But the run game, I felt like it was on par, and we can still do a lot of little things better.
Sure.
But as far as understanding and knowing where we need to be, our kids are really getting comfortable with that.
You talk about taking shots down the field. You're starting to see a weapon emerge in Trez Davis.
Oh, yeah.
You knew he was going to be a weapon coming into the season. Now you can line him up. You see a one-on-one. You've got to feel pretty good about your chances.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's kind of what we did the other night with the one-on-one we had. And now what people are going to start doing is they might start playing somebody over the top of him. So really we need those other guys. And I feel confident in Kavion. I feel confident in Luke Valerie. I feel confident in our tight ends that they can stretch the field and be those guys that we need them to be, just to take a little pressure off Trez. But it's good to be able to move him around and them not be able to key in on where he is.
Wrapping up the show real quick, the itinerary for Friday. What time are you departing West Monroe?
We are getting out of class at the end of the fifth period. We're going to eat our pregame meal at home.
Okay.
We're close enough, and so we're going to go ahead and just try to keep it as homely as we can. Eat our pregame meal here. Try to get on the road about 2:45, 3 o'clock. Taking yellow dogs.
All right.
And taking 4 of them, so we've got plenty of room.
Yeah.
And try to roll in there about 4:45 and just let the old specialty begin.
Awesome. Coach, always a pleasure visiting with
Thanks,
you.
Rick.
Best of luck Friday night.
All right.
Folks, that wraps up our show here on Inside Rebel Football, live on 105.3. You'll catch it on Facebook tomorrow on the West Monroe High School Football Facebook page. Again, thanks to all our sponsors, and Freddie's our host here, right here in West Monroe on Cypress Street. Tune in Friday night. Pregame show 6:15. Kickoff set for 7 o'clock at North Desoto in Stonewall, Louisiana. We'll see you Friday night. For Dawson back to studio, Tim Gallion here with me. I'm Rick Guillo. Good night, and God bless.